Sarah, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, I've got to ask, when people talk about the London accent, is there really just one? Or are we talking about a whole family of sounds here?
Great question. It's definitely not just one. London is this amazing melting pot, and the way people speak shifts massively from proper received pronunciation, that's what you hear on the BBC, to the lively, streetwise, multicultural London English, and, of course, old-school Cockney. There's a whole sliding scale in between.
So, it's less like a single accent, and more like a whole spectrum, right? I guess I always pictured RP and Cockney as polar opposites, but there's all this space in between.
Exactly. And most Londoners don't fit perfectly at one end. You'll find people mixing features or even switching up depending on who they're talking to. It's pretty dynamic.
Let's start at the top of that continuum, received pronunciation. When I hear BBC English, I picture those old newsreels. Very clipped, very posh. But is that still relevant today?
It's still with us, but it's definitely changed. RP used to be the marker for educated, upper-class Brits, sort of the gold standard for proper English. But now, fewer people speak it naturally. It's more of a learned accent.
That makes sense. I suppose it also carries a lot of social baggage, like it signals something about class and maybe even power?
Totally. There's a whole world of attitudes tied to RP. Some people hear it and immediately think of authority or intelligence, while others find it stuffy or out of touch. I once met someone who switched out of RP just to avoid sounding too posh at university.
That's fascinating. It reminds me of studies showing that accents can affect how trustworthy or warm someone's perceived to be. So, the way you sound can shape your whole social experience.
Exactly, and that's why people often shift their accent depending on where they are or who they're with. It's a social tool, as much as a linguistic feature.
I keep picturing old movies with Cockney characters, think Michael Caine, or the characters in Oliver. What actually defines traditional Cockney, linguistically?
It's got loads of unique features, dropping H's, turning thin to F or V, and sometimes that famous glottal stop where bottle becomes bowl. It's full of history, really tied to London's East End working-class communities.
And there's all that rhyming slang, like calling stairs apples and pears. Must be fun but a bit confusing for outsiders.
Definitely. It's playful, but it's also about group identity, letting insiders bond and keeping outsiders guessing.
But you don't hear much pure Cockney on the street these days, do you? Has it faded out, or just evolved?
It's more evolution than extinction. Traditional Cockney's less common, partly due to gentrification and people moving out of the East End. But a lot of its features have been picked up by other London accents, including MLE.
So Cockney's DNA is still alive, just mixing with new influences. Speaking of mixing, Multicultural London English, or MLE, feels like such a fresh sound. What makes it stand out?
MLE really reflects London's diversity. It blends elements from Caribbean English, South Asian languages, and traditional London speech. You'll hear it especially among young people, words like mandem, ting, or bear.
It's wild how quickly it spread. I read that even kids outside London have started using some MLE vocabulary.
You're spot on. Social media and pop culture have given it legs way beyond London's borders.
That actually reminds me, how much do Londoners switch up their accent based on who they're with? Is code switching a big thing?
It's massive. Londoners will often dial it up or down, maybe sound more standard at a job interview, and then slip into MLE or Cockney features with friends. I even know people who change the way they speak mid-sentence if the group changes.
That's a real linguistic superpower, being able to blend in or stand out just by tweaking your accent. Now, if you look at TV or radio, do you think there's still a bias toward RP? Or are we hearing more variety these days?
There's definitely been a shift. RP still pops up, especially on national news, but you'll hear all sorts of London voices in drama, reality shows, and YouTube. Emily is huge in music and online content. It's a reflection of the real city.
I love that. The more accents on air, the more people see themselves reflected. Funny you say that, because there's still some strong prejudices linked to accents. How much do people get judged in London for the way they sound?
Sadly, it's still a thing. Studies have shown that people with non-standard accents, especially Cockney or MLE, sometimes face bias in hiring or are unfairly stereotyped. It's changing, but we've got a way to go.
It's wild how something as simple as a vowel can affect your job chances or how you're treated in a shop. Shows the power of language, for better or worse. Switching gears a bit, how do kids in London pick up their accent? With so many influences, is it just a case of blending what they hear at home and at school?
It's actually an amazing process. Kids soak up whatever's around them so their speech might sound like their family at home, then shift toward MLE or other local influences with friends. Some end up creating their own hybrid style.
That adaptability is wild. I guess it's part survival, part creativity. They're negotiating all these social spaces from the time they're tiny. Looking ahead, do you think any one accent will take over? Or are we headed for even more blending?
Honestly, blending seems to be the trend. The lines between accents keep getting blurrier. With tech, migration, and global pop culture, new features are always bubbling up. Who knows, maybe London kids in 2050 will sound totally different from today.
That unpredictability is what makes language so exciting. It's never finished, always changing. Bringing it all together, what do you think is the main takeaway from exploring this spectrum of London accents?
For me, it's realizing how much our voices reveal about our history, identity, and even our dreams. Accents aren't just sounds, they're stories. Studying them helps us understand each other more deeply.
Couldn't agree more. And it gives us a chance to celebrate all those voices, posh, brash, or somewhere in the middle, that make London what it is.